Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be do the best with what you have. Well, I've got one email I'm going to go through with you today. And I'm going to talk a lot about purpose, mission, doing something that's compelling to you in life, because this is something that is really huge to all of us. Because think about it. What are we going to spend most of our time doing Monday through Friday? Working, usually at a job or a business or a career, something hopefully that we have a passion for, something that we really love, something that is emotionally compelling to us. If you think about it, you're going to spend most of your time working in a job and you're not really that excited about it, or working at a business and you might not like your business partners very much or get along with them, or might not even like the product or service that you're involved in. That's definitely going to affect your attitude when you go home and when you're not working. And when you encounter a member of the opposite sex and they say, "What do you do for a living?" and you're like most people and you go, "Same shit, different day," kind of mentality, that's going to have a much less of an impact on somebody versus when someone says, "What do you do for a living?" You go, "Oh my God, I absolutely love what I do. I get to help people every day based upon my own life experience and the things that I've learned and all the struggles to help people avoid that." And it's so fulfilling. It's so compelling. It's just exciting. I love what I do. Think about it. Which kind of person would you rather talk to? Which person would you rather spend your time with? It's really not a choice, but how many of us actually think about that? I do a lot of career coaching as well with people. Like I had a client today who's making multiple six figures, and he's looking to make a lateral move in his career, but obviously he works overseas now, and coming back and working back home in the States, he's looking at potentially taking a pretty sizable pay cut. Plus he's got some other things that he'd like to get involved in career-wise and business-wise into the future. And so that's one of the things I really enjoy is at least half of my phone sessions and Skype sessions that I do with people are either figuring out their purpose or making lateral moves in their career, or helping them just come up with a good plan to either make a career change, start a business, and how all those pieces come together. Because it's easy just to say, "Hey, burn the boats, I'm going to quit my fucking job that I hate, and I'm going to start this great business, and I'm going to become a millionaire in 6 months." It doesn't work that way. It takes time and repetition, and the thing, especially for those of you watching this who are considering eventually becoming an entrepreneur, what you have to realize about being an entrepreneur or becoming one in the future is that most of your ideas aren't going to work. You have to become very good at failure. And plus, if you're chasing after your dream job, well, what if the company that you want to go work for doesn't have an opening today? Most people, what do? They fax in a resume and that's it. They don't do anything beyond that. You have to have a system. You have to have a plan of action that works. And for those of you that are looking to make career changes or maybe to get a better job, I've done a number of articles. If you Google Corey Wayne, how to get any job you want, and you follow that process, I promise you, you will get the job that you want. I had a strategic planner many years ago taught me something that I thought was a great piece of wisdom. And this guy took a $5 million a year architectural company that was already pretty successful, and he grew that into a $60 million a year company. They were doing Home Depots, they were doing Walmarts. They literally had dozens and dozens of projects go on all over the world, and he grew it in 5 years. He took it from $5 million a year in revenue to $60 million a year. And one of the things that he said was, "There's no such thing as a bad idea, only bad plans." I was talking to a woman today, and I was working with her to help her figure out her purpose and what she wanted to do in life. And what was really interesting, when she would come up in there, she's like, "Oh, I would really love to do this, but I don't have the education. I don't have the money. I don't have the experience. There's probably nothing out there that I could really do and make a good living at it." And that's what most people do. They deep down, it's like when I talk to somebody and they're like, "I don't know what my purpose is." Deep down, we all know what we'd really like to do, but there's usually a bunch of bullshit that gets in the way, which I like to call your personal story. In other words, you have a story that you tell yourself. In other words, you know what you want deep down, but you have this story that gets in the way that basically convinces you of why what you want to do is not really in the cards for you. Same thing about being more successful with members of the opposite sex. Oh, I'd really like to have somebody that really loves me, but I'm overweight. But I can't stand my life. But I'm really shy. But I don't know what to do. I really have bad approach anxiety, or whatever it happens to be. And so what happens? Nothing happens. That's the whole point. They don't take any action. We know what we want, but we don't take any action in order to attain it because we've got a story that we tell ourselves. In other words, it's like Andy Roddick said, the famous tennis player. He says, at some point in life, you either have what you want or the excuses why you don't. And most of us tend to make excuses. That's why the average person tends to major in minor things in life. They have things that they really want. Yeah, but I have to go back to school for that. So, yeah, I got its job. It's okay. It pays the bills. And that's what they keep telling themselves. And they get to some point in their life and they realize this really fucking sucks. And for a lot of people, you don't want to be somebody sitting on your deathbed or laying on your deathbed having a bunch of regrets of all the things you didn't go for in life. And that's what I do as a life coach, is all these things come out in somebody's self-talk. Is I help them get past the obstacles that they have put in their own path. And I got a quote that I wrote on this topic, and then we're going to go through this guy's email who's in a really interesting situation. And the quote says, "Everyone has innate gifts, skills, and talents. You should move towards the things you are curious about, have a passion for, your heart compels you to pursue, and that your intuition or gut feels right about. Skills, wisdom, and success comes with experience and time. People are not born being the best. Becoming the best at anything in life comes from taking action to learn what you do not know and applying what you do know. Your natural gifts, skills, and talents can be cultivated, developed, and perfected over time through repetition. The better you become at something and the more value you add to other people's lives, the higher your earning potential becomes. The more value you add to the lives of others, the more value, significance, and meaning you will feel for your own life." Now let's look at tonight. Tonight is Game 2 of the conference finals of the NBA, which obviously I'm definitely going to be watching that because the best player in the world in basketball, which happens to presently at this point in time be LeBron James, is going to be playing. Now people look at a guy like that and they go, look at the guy. It's like he must be an alien from another planet. There's no way anybody is naturally born like that. Well, he had good genetics, obviously, but what has LeBron James done his whole life? He has cultivated his passion and his skills. When you look at the basketball player he is today versus the guy that he was when he came into the league almost, I think, 10 years ago at this point, there's a lot of things in his game that he wasn't good at, or like his post-up game. He didn't even have a post-up game when he started. And what people describe him today, he's the most complete basketball player that there is. He can basically score from anywhere on the court. He's an amazing defender. He's amazing at hitting the three-point shot. When he goes up, it doesn't matter where he is in the court, and he throws that ball up, most of the time, that ball is going in the basket. That is a gift. That is those skills, those talents that he possesses are things that he's been cultivating and working on day in and day out since he's a little boy. Why? Because he had a passion for basketball, because he fucking loved it. And when you really love something and you really have a passion for it, you're going to work at it over and over and over and over again to get better at it. Why? Because you love doing it. That's why anybody that's achieved any kind of level of success at anything in life, people that you may recognize and you say, wow, that guy, that girl, if I could be half or a quarter as successful as they are, I'd be really happy. And what most people do is they look at someone like that and they go, oh, I could never be that good. He was born that way. LeBron James wasn't born being the amazing basketball player that he is. And you look at like a Michael Jordan. He got cut. His sophomore year, you'd think this guy, he was just breezed through high school and just totally kicked ass. Sophomore year, he got cut from his basketball team. Michael Jordan right now arguably the best basketball player to ever play the game. He got cut from his team. And what was the difference? What changed for him? Well, what changed for him was the coach said to him, look, the coach recognized that he definitely had some talent, and he had some skills, and he had a drive and a passion. And he said, I tell you what, if you meet me every day after school and we work on your fundamentals together, I promise you next year you'll make the team. And he did. It took one guy, it took one coach taking the time, willing to work with him to help him focus on those little simple fundamentals that he needed to work on to perfect his game. And obviously next year, his junior year, he came back, he made the team, and the rest is basketball history. You look at someone like a Michael Jackson. Why was this guy so amazing? The Jackson 5, look at his family. I mean, almost since the time he could walk, he was singing and he was performing. Even though he looked like a Justin Bieber. Since the kid could walk, he innately knew that he wanted to sing and dance and perform. And you can see YouTube videos of him when he was a little boy doing that. That's all he did, was working at singing and dancing and performing. And when you work at something for many decades of your life and you love it and you have a passion for it, you can't help but become good at it. But what most people do that are majoring in minor things, what are they doing? They're working at a job they really don't have a passion for. They're just doing just enough to not get fired. You can't become great at a job that you don't like, or worse, that you hate. That's why you got to gravitate towards the things that you're really curious about, that you have a passion for, that are of interest to you. Because when you have a passion for something, you'll work at it. Even if you're not getting compensated for it, even if it's something that you just say, well, this would be kind of cool to maybe have a business doing whatever it happens to be someday. You got to put the time in. Repetition is the mother of skill. I say it all the time. That's how you become really great at something, is working at it over and over and over. Especially if it's something that's like a competitive sport. You have to be willing to work harder, to study harder, to take better care of your body, to practice more than every other person, especially whether you play in the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball. There's always some younger kid out there who's got more skills, more talent, more advantages, more education, more raw ability than you, that is just itching to take your job. And the only way that you can stay ahead of them and become a truly great player, the type of person that ends up in the Hall of Fame of whatever particular sport it happens to be, or business, if it happens to deal with business, is you got to do more. You got to prepare more than the other people that you're competing against. It's the only way you're going to keep an edge. So I got this email here that I'm going to go through this guy, and he's got a lot of challenges, which you're going to see right away, that he's obviously had some things he's had to overcome in his life. And he says, hey coach, I love your videos. I'm going to be buying your book soon. Well, you can definitely read it for free on my website. Don't delay. Do it now. Do it today. My last phone session that I had with a guy today, he's been following me for almost 4 months. He's barely read the book one time. And he had this girl that he was dating, and everything started out really great with her, and then things started going sideways. And when I started talking to him, well, guess what? He hadn't read the book 10 to 15 times. And so it wasn't until he started having some major problems that he actually contacted me. And it's funny, he's been following my videos for almost 4 months now, and he didn't even know how to ask a girl out on a date. He didn't even know the process that I talk about in the book on making definite dates. And he's fumbled his way through it, and fortunately, he's been starting to pay attention more as of late. He's been backing off, and the woman is actually starting to pursue and to text him more, but she's reaching out to him, and he's not setting dates properly. Why? One simple reason. He hasn't read the book 10 to 15 times. He says, you know, I hear you say that shit in your videos all the time, Corey, and I just didn't listen. You're totally right. I definitely need to do it. I was like, dude, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You got this great girl that really likes you, and you're tying your own shoelaces together. It's like you're constantly putting your foot in the mouth, and you're not taking advantage of the easy opportunity that's right there. So he says, I'm 34 years old, and I stay at home with my mom and my siblings. He says, man, I know this sounds bad, and perhaps it is bad. Well, at the end of the day, It's simply your situation. I, at one point, was making $500,000 a year in the real estate and mortgage business. I was on TV no matter where I went, whether I went to lunch or went to dinner, there'd be somebody going, "Hey, there's that dude. There's that dude from that company over there." And I went from that, living in $1 million lakefront house, having a $2.5 million office building, having 40 employees. I went from having all of that shit to basically barely making $2,000, $2,500 a month, and I got down to I had a few $1,000s in the bank. And I didn't have any of that stuff that I once had because I was pursuing a dream. But at one point in my life, I guess all I knew was success, one success after another. From the time I was 18 all the way until the point I got to be about 35, it's just nothing but success, nothing but wins. Everything always seemed to effortlessly lined up. And then I decided to become a life coach, was completely different than anything that I had ever done before in my life. Even though I knew how to do it effectively, everything that worked marketing-wise in the real estate and mortgage industry didn't work for this particular business. And I only really had set enough money aside for about 3 years, 3.5 years tops. And so what happened? I figured, I'm a fucking smart guy. I've had all this success. Look at all these nice material things I've had. I've hung out with all these amazing, influential people. Got to know Tony Robbins personally. Got to know his wife personally. Got to know his head trainers. Got to know the guy that was Keith Cunningham, who was the guy in Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was able to meet him and talk with him. If you've ever watched any of Robert Kiyosaki's products, he's the rich dad from that. I got to know all these amazing people and learn from them and learn their wisdom. I met all these influential, successful, and famous people. So after a while, you start to believe your own hype. You start to think, I'm fucking smart. 2 years, I'll be right back where I was. I know all these things. I've been applying this shit for 20 years. It took me 4.5 years to figure out my business model. It took me 4.5 years to figure out how to package up my wisdom, my gifts, my skills, and talents, and offer it to people like you and demonstrate what I know and how I can help you. And I eventually basically got down to my last few $1,000s. To the point where I was literally sleeping on my dad's couch again after all that success that I have by my own choice. It's one of the things I love about Wayne Dyer. He's got this quote. He says, no matter where you are in life right now, your best thinking got you where you are. And despite all the success that I had, my best thinking got me living on my dad's couch and waiting tables part-time on the weekends to make enough money to keep paying my web developers and to keep my pay-per-click campaigns going until I figured out the right formula to market my business. And eventually I figured it out, and I'm back making multiple six-figure income again, and I got a great life and a great lifestyle. But the reason I stuck with it is because I had a passion for it, because I really loved what I'm doing. I couldn't come up with it. And when I was going through those difficult times, I was thinking, what the fuck did I get myself into? Everything was so fucking easy. It's like I got people going, you're a fucking idiot, Corey. I can't believe you gave off all that to do this. You're a fucking moron. You should go back into real estate. You should go back in the construction industry. You should do this. You should do that. I didn't want to. I believed in myself. I knew that eventually I would figure it out. But I was thinking, God, when is this shit going to fucking turn around? When am I going to figure out the right formula? And I stuck with it. Time and repetition, time and repetition. Repetition's the mother of skill. Eventually I figured it out. And it's grown into this successful business that I have today. He said, 10 years ago, I got shot 3 times in the city where I live now, and I landed myself on Social Security. I get $850 a month, and I pay my mother $400 a month for a nice-sized room with a private entry, but I just don't like the area. The place I want to be is 2 hours away, and it's a big city compared to where I live now at my mother's place. Plus, I went to rehab there, and I met a lot of cool people who cared about me, but I couldn't afford a place on my own, and I didn't want to do the sober living thing, sharing a room with 2 or 3 other dudes, so I came back home, and I've been 4 months sober now. Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations to the fact that you are getting your life turned around, that you're taking action, and that's the important thing. Is that you obviously got to a place in your life and you realize that what you were doing was not working. And that's usually when people find out about my work, is they realize that whether it's in their dating, in their personal life, or their career, or their business, or they want to lose weight, they want to get in shape, they realize something is not working. And obviously the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And maybe you're at that place now. Maybe you're at a place in your life where you realize that what you're doing is definitely not working and some things need to change. I.e., that's why a guy like me is here that can help you. So I commend you and I honor you for the fact that you're turning your life around. You're sober and you're no longer using whatever it is, alcohol or drugs or whatever it happened to be, to escape from life. Now you are completely in the present moment because you're not escaping using substances. And now you can start working at the process of moving in the direction that you want to move in. When I was your age, when I was 34 years old, I was a platinum partner, hanging out with people like Tony Robbins, hanging out with all these very successful people, people that had sold companies for hundreds of millions of dollars, that achieved way more success than I had ever even dreamed of in my life. Had an amazing fucking woman in my life at the time, and I thought everything was just going to continue to go up and up and up. I had no idea that the choices that I was making at that particular time was going to take me basically from where I was living in that nice $1 million lakefront house to sleeping on my fucking dad's couch and not even driving my car anywhere. I had a BMW X5 and my warranty was up on it, and anytime something broke on it, it was like $1,200-$1,500 to fix it. And so the only time I really drove anywhere or really went anywhere was when I either had to go buy some groceries or run an errand, because I didn't want to drive my car very much because I didn't want to take the chance of something fucking breaking down, because I only had a couple $1,000s in the bank, and every time something broke, it's like I literally almost wiped out my fucking bank account. It's not a lot of fun being in that place financially, especially having had all the success and influence that I was used to having. But I believed in myself, and I knew that someday eventually I would have figured it out. He says, I plan on buying a conversion van and move out and back to the big city and live in my van for the start of living a simple life, working with what I got for now. I think it's a fucking great plan. Plan your work and work your plan. There's no such thing as a bad idea, only bad plans. And so it looks like you're living within your means, obviously, and you're going to figure it out. That's what it takes. He says, my question is, when it comes to dating, will the lady respect me more living home with my mom or being independent and living on my own in my high-top conversion van with a king-size bed in the back, LOL? A woman will respect you the most when you're doing what you want to do. And obviously, at this point, it's nice living at home with your family, but you don't like the area and you don't want to be there. You'd rather be 2 hours away. Where are you going to be happier? Obviously, living with and near people who are like-minded. People who like the same things tend to like each other. That way you have a support system. You have a lot of friends, just like you said, that care about you. A true friend is someone to whom you can speak aloud. He says, I'll only be paying $300 a month for storage, gym, phone, and insurance. Dude, I think it's a great fucking plan. When are you moving? I mean, fucking go for it, dude. Because you gotta, if you're working out at the gym, they got showers there, so you can take a shower. You can wash your clothes at a laundromat. I mean, it's really simple. You're living within your means. Your revenues need to exceed your expenses. It's pretty fucking simple. And when you're, obviously, once you move there, then you can work on getting a job. Wait tables. Work as a dishwasher. Work as a busboy. Work as a waiter. If you Google Corey Wayne how to get any job you want, follow that process, you'll get a job. You'll get something that you can do to earn some extra money. And then what do you do with that? Eventually, you save up some money, get yourself a small apartment, a small efficiency. You start working towards the things that you want in life. That's a great plan. And if that's, like I said, the best thing that you can do to be more attractive to women is to do something that's really exciting, really compelling. Because obviously you're not happy living at home, and that's understandable. You know, and besides, for sex to happen, you got to have privacy, you got to have intimacy. And as long as you don't have a problem with it, a woman's not going to have a problem with it. If you're proud of yourself and the way you're living, I read an article just recently. There's a company that makes these little tiny houses that are basically built on a trailer, and they're really cool. They're these beautiful little homes, and they only cost like $6,000 or $8,000. They're brand new. They got a stove, they got a kitchen, they got everything. And they even have a second story, which is that's where you sleep, is above where you normally live during the day. It's just a little, like, 8x10 space. You can pull it behind a car. I mean, besides, if you're going on a date, maybe the girl's got a place. You can hang out and have fun and hook up at her place. Who fucking cares? The bottom line is, I think it's a great plan. I mean, it's beautiful. That sounds like something that's exciting to you. You've already thought this through. It's like pull a trigger, no pun intended, and fucking go for it, my friend. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session with yours truly. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.